Canada will never become part of the United States, says new Prime Minister. Two more men cut down by the police, 15-year-old charged for murder. This is Undiluted News, Mikey Bones reporting. Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney, has firmly stated that Canada will never become part of the United States, despite tensions with Donald Trump over an escalating trade war. Mr. Carney says he expects respect from the United States, calling U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio's recent comments about Canada potentially becoming a 51st state as crazy. He also shared plans to visit France and the UK on his first overseas trip and mentioned he has no current plans to meet Trump but looks forward to speaking with him. The Inter-American Commission on Human Rights is expressing its deep concern at the alarming deterioration of the security situation in Haiti, which it said is characterized by a new escalation of extreme violence. It said that the violence perpetrated by armed groups continues to claim victims and cause massive population displacement. In just 3 days, gangs have killed at least 50 persons, including 2 soldiers. And in less than a month, more than 6,000 persons had to flee their homes. So with all the African and Jamaican soldiers, they are not able to stop the gangs from carrying out mass killings. No outside force can solve Haiti's problem. Only the Haitians can solve that problem, and that is when the people decide that enough is enough and rise up with one voice in a revolution. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has responded sharply to former Prime Minister P.J. Patterson for his recent scathing assessment of the present government's stewardship of the country's affairs. Last month, Mr. Patterson, in his address at the People's National Party Region 6 Forum, said the administration of Holness's Jamaica Labour Party has done a poor job at managing the country's road network, health system, and reducing poverty. But Holness, speaking in the constituency of St. Elizabeth Northwest on Friday night, declared that his administration had raised the bar in creating better policies that benefits the majority. Furthermore, he said the former Prime Minister was in no position to criticize the government. Holness also declared that the governing JLP has earned a third term in office, claiming that it has accomplished all that it had set out to do. Asserting that the JLP should be given the opportunity to continue with the management of the country, Dr. Holness said the party will be launching a voter awareness campaign, especially targeting young people, whom he argues are being misled by the People's National Party. Meanwhile, Councillor for the Old Harbour South Division, Dr. Kurt Wall, is calling for a thorough investigation into the latest fatal police shooting in Old Harbour in St. Catherine. Friday's incident, which occurred in the community of Settlement, is the third such since the start of the month. The deceased has been identified as Jamar Fothergill, also known as Zaga. A resident said that she heard a commotion followed by gunshots about 4 o'clock and said that Mr. Fothergill had been detained on several occasions by the police and was accused of committing a murder on Tuesday. The police have been accused of removing closed-circuit television cameras from the premises on Friday morning's shooting. The residents also complained that the police were not wearing body cameras. The council said the latest shooting will make the job of the police in Old Harbour much harder as it closely follows another fatal shooting on Terminal Road 2 weeks ago. 5 homicides have been committed in Old Harbour Bay since the start of this year. And in another police shooting, the police shot and killed an unidentified man during what they say is an armed confrontation on Galloway Road, Kingston 13 on Friday night. A high .9mm pistol was reportedly recovered from the deceased. And information received is that members of the Area 4 Fugitive Apprehension Team were on patrol in the St. Andrews South Police Division when they were alerted that men were seen along Galloway Road with firearms. It's reported that the police team proceeded on foot along Galloway Road and came up with a group of men along the said roadway. Upon seeing the police, the men ran into nearby premises. During their pursuit of the men, the team came under gunfire, which was returned and one individual was shot. The injured man was pronounced dead at hospital. And police killings are now heading close to 70, and we should see that total by the end of this month. A 15-year-old boy is the third person charged in relation with the March 4 shooting death of a 46-year-old delivery driver. The teen, who is of a Gardner Land address in St. Mary, has been charged with murder, possession of a prohibited weapon, unauthorized possession of ammunition, and using a firearm to commit a felony. Artnell Saunders, otherwise called Nelly, was killed at his home in Tank Lane in Oracabessa, also in St. Mary. Reports from the Port Maria police are that about 11:30 p.m., armed men shot Saunders several times as he exited his vehicle at his home. The police were alerted and Saunders was transported to hospital where he was pronounced dead, and the boy was charged in presence of his parents after he was pointed out on an identification parade. And his co-accused 42-year-old Prince Irving, otherwise known as Fambo, and 18-year-old Shaquan Coulters, otherwise called Satan of St. Mary's Address, had allegedly already confessed to committing the crime and were previously charged. On to sports, 9 players from the Jamaica Premier League have been called up to the Reggae Boys 23-man squad for their CONCACAF Gold Cup qualifier against St. Vincent and the Grenadines on March 21st and the 25th. Head coach Steve McLaren said February's international friendlies against Trinidad and Tobago gave him the confidence to introduce the local-based players into the team. Annette Gardens striker Warner Brown, who has 18 goals this season in the JPL, is among the 9, which also includes Cavaliers' Richard King and Christopher Ainsworth and Mount Pleasant's FA Sue Lee McCullough, Fitzroy Cummings, and Kyle Ming. Aston Villa's winger Leon Bailey, Brentford defender Ethan Pinnock, Leicester City forward Bobby Reid, and Charlton Athletics' Kaheem Dixon are among the England-based players in the squad. And the first leg of this tournament will take place on March 21 away at Arnos Vale Stadium, with the second leg set for March 25th at Sabina Park. In Premier League last night, Mullines and Chapelton Maroons played to a 1-1 draw. Humber Lions edged Harbourview 1-0. Portmore had a similar 1-0 victory over last place Vere to remain in 4th place, while Tivoli and Portmore had a scoring contest with Tivoli coming out on top with a 3-2 victory, and the Cavaliers remained firm in 5th place with a 1-0 victory over Dun Beholden. Tonight we'll see 2 games. Mount Pleasant will face Racing United, while Montego Bay United and Arnett Gardens will clash. And that's going to be news and sports on your favorite radio. My name is Mikey Bones. I gone.